and welcome to First Take. Hello, I'm Shay Cornett filling in for Molly. Ryan Clark is here, Doggy as well, and Stephen A. Good morning to you. Let's dive right in, guys.
Good morning.
We got the breaking.
What's up, fellas?
What's up? We got breaking news like 2 hours ago because the Steelers are sending wide receiver George Pickens to the Cowboys in exchange for draft picks. Schefter broke the news, and now the Cowboys have officially announced the move. Comes with the Cowboys needing more weapons to complement CeeDee Lamb. They missed the playoffs, went 7-10 last season. Meanwhile, the Steelers, they move on after acquiring DK Metcalf. Of course, there's still uncertainty there at quarterback. Dan Orlowski was on Get Up earlier today. This is what he says Pickens makes the Cowboys now.
If George Pickens plays to the way that he has played over the past couple seasons, this would be a top 8 offense in the NFL. I've talked about it. I think this offensive line is going to be one of the better ones in the NFL by the end of the season. We all know CeeDee Lamb is a superstar. Now you're adding George Pickens in, who averaged 16 yards a catch with the revolving door at quarterback. This has got a chance to be a pretty darn good offense when it comes to what happens in Dallas.
Why do I feel like we always get rose-colored glasses with the Dallas Cowboys when they make moves like this? But nonetheless, RCA, I go to you first here. Do you think this move is more about what the Cowboys have done now or what the Steelers have done?
I think it's about both teams, right? You're looking at the Pittsburgh Steelers, who under Mike Tomlin's tenure have the greatest tolerance for mercurial personalities. Antonio Brown was there for a number of years where he was one of the best players in all of the NFL, and the behavior was what we eventually saw. Coach Tomlin was able to keep that indoors. Coach Tomlin was able to allow him to be on the football field because he knew that you can't run away from coaching, you can't run away from grooming, you can't run away from helping a young man grow. And they do their best to keep those people within the building as long as the play says they should. So if this has gotten to a point so early in George Pickens' career where they can no longer tolerate him, where they can no longer make a relationship between this wide receiver and the organization work, then that's a problem to me. That's a red flag to me. And now if you're the Dallas Cowboys, yes, it seems like a home run from a physical standpoint. What he adds to this offense, CeeDee Lamb doesn't have to get the yeoman's share of all the targets. Now you have a 1A and a 1B. You've bolstered the backfield. Your offensive line is going to be extremely good. And you have a quarterback that at one point in his career, only 2 years ago, finished second in the MVP voting. But what does a brand new head coach do to integrate this man into the locker room? He's already talking about culture, Shay. He's already talking about culture, Doggy. He said Michael Parsons needs to be next to Dak Prescott. Well, if you're going to do that, George Pickens needs to be in between both of them.
Listen, I think on paper, you'd have to say Dallas did a great job here because they gave up draft picks, and he's got the potential at times to be a great receiver. Yes. No question about it. Now, I don't know when his contract's up.
This year.
So the Steelers don't want to pay $130 million to Metcalf, and they don't want to pay $130 million to Pickens, who's going to want a lot of money. So keep that in mind, too. It's a financial thing. And I do think Rodgers is going to play. I know the owner said at the draft, we are optimistic that Rodgers will decide to play football. So I don't think this is, all is not lost with the Steelers. But this is what it tells you. They obviously got fed up with him. Because he has been one of those guys at times. You almost get the idea that he'd rather catch 10 passes and lose than catch 2 passes and win. And I think as a result of that, that's bothered the coaching staff and Tomlin. And for them to trade him, this is a good organization, for them to trade him would indicate to me that there must be something that we don't see behind the scenes.
Stephen A.?
Well, before I start laughing about the Cowboys, let me state for the record on national television right here that I am very, very displeased with my man Ryan Clark. I blame him for what's going on in Pittsburgh. I blame Ryan Clark. Now, I would expect this man, who's reinvented the word pivot. I mean, in a very, very positive way, okay? Who's reinvented the word pivot. I would expect Ryan Clark to have more influence than this. I'm sorry, I understand that George Pickens can be a headache. I understand it. I understand the 2 unsportsmanlike penalties last year made Mike Tomlin call him out and talk about how he had to grow up. I understand he had the patch under his eyes, said always effing open and stuff like that, which riled them up. I get all of those things. I understand the details. details, okay? But Ryan Clark, Omar Khan, I'm getting to the point where I'm starting to ask, who the hell is this guy? Who the hell is this guy? Because I was happy for him for getting this position and what have you. But damn, how many years do we have to wait for you guys to find a quarterback? You got Lamar Jackson in the division. You got Joe Burrow in the division. And you're bringing us Mason Rudolph and Skylar Thompson. I mean, you got to be kidding me. This is what we have to look forward to. And Ryan, excuse me, and Ryan Clark is sitting in my seat, by the way. My seat, okay? He's sitting there right now, and with a straight look on his face, just being all objective. Didn't this man win a Super Bowl championship with the Steelers, doggy? Ain't that
yes,
Ryan Clark right there? Isn't it this dude that's sitting there having this just motivational sessions with Mike Tomlin? Isn't this dude that sits before us all doing these phenomenal interviews, inspiring, motivating, uplifting, except for when it comes to the Steelers. Except for when it comes to the Steelers. It's driving me nuts. Okay, I'm blaming you from now on for everything that goes wrong with the Steelers because you're supposed to have a better impact than that. Now, let me get to the Cowboys.
That's your professional assessment of the
Hey, look at him.
professionally.
This is
That's
funny.
your analysis of it.
This is fun. We got to get to the Cowboys. So this dude is supposed to be a headache. You got a new coach that nobody wanted, that you elevated in Brian Shot. That's what you got right there, right? You got him, right? You got Dak Prescott, who's allergic to prosperity come playoff time, right? So we know that's going on, right? And you don't have really much of a running game because Rico Dowdle, you didn't even try to hold on to him. You went and got this brother Williams from Denver, right? Because he was half the price. I mean, instead of $6 million, we're going to play $3 million. I mean, just stop the presses. What a big move for our running game, right? Which basically means you're going to be passing the ball all day long. And the more you pass, the more it sets the stage for Dak Prescott to make a mistake when it matters most. Congratulations to the Cowboys. I'm sure it looks good on paper as it always does. I'm sure the Dallas Cowboy faithful is looking around.
You already planning for their downfall?
Yeah, give him a break.
Like Stephen A. We ain't even been to OTAs yet.
It's easy. Hey, man. They gave it to me on a silver platter. I'm here minding my business. It's the NBA playoffs, man. That's where my mind is. And they go and they do something like this. I'm minding my business. I wasn't thinking about the Cowboys, but this is what they want. They got to steal the headlines. They stole the headlines during Super Bowl week. They're going to try to steal. Now they're stealing it during the NBA playoffs. Fine, it's all yours. They're going to make headlines, and you're going to see Dallas Cowboy fans everywhere. Pickens with C.D. Lamb, and Dak is back healthy. You know we're going to win the Super Bowl next year, right? Oh, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. It's just set up for right now. At least they're not going to stink in September. They're going to go back to teasing us into believing that they're relevant and right up until around Christmas time or so, a little bit after. And then after that, they plummet. Wait for it. Just be patient. It's coming.
They didn't even get to that point to plummet last year, Shane.
You knew he was going to say
Yeah, like they just added a top 10 wide receiver, and he's already planning for Dak Prescott to blow the playoff game.
But here's what I think is interesting. For once, in a very different
I ain't been
order,
wrong in 29 years.
we're all actually in agreement that this move is a little head scratching. And you started it off saying this is all about the Steelers and what Mike Tomlin has done. Mike Tomlin doesn't just let good wide receivers go to a team like the Dallas Cowboys, okay? Saw it with Chase Claypool, no longer in the league. I saw it firsthand because he went to the Chicago Bears. The headache, okay? The Antonio Brown situation you talked about. And now you have a guy who has been fined 10 times in the last 3 seasons for different infractions on his football team. Going to walk into the Cowboys facility with a new head coach and just all of a sudden light the world on fire? It seems highly unlikely.
Well, listen, like on the field, it might happen. On the field, this might work. George Pickens is a top 2, top 3, 50-50 ball catcher in all of this league. When George Pickens is dialed in, when George Pickens is involved, George Pickens is one of the best doing it. I thought he should have been a first-round draft pick, but it's some of the things that has gotten him traded that pushed him to the second round.
Hôm nay mình sẽ hướng dẫn các bạn cách làm một chiếc túi dây rút đơn giản từ len nhá. Nguyên liệu của mình cần có chính là len này. Mình sẽ sử dụng 3 màu sắc như thế này để làm nhé. Màu hồng, màu đen và